Yo, yo, yo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got John, we got J.H. Cornelio, Pete, Randall, J.K., Ryan. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for being here. Definitely do me a huge favor. Smack the like button here on your way in. Today, we are talking about some more Arizona Cardinals, unfortunately. At this point, right, it kind of feels like beating a dead horse. The Arizona Cardinals continue to lose in the most frustrating way possible as Cardinal fans to really hope to give credit to this coaching staff to see if they can finally get it right. But we're not talking about a year one coaching staff. Hell, we're not even talking about a year two coaching staff. No, we're talking about a year three coaching staff that unfortunately has regressed from year one when his mantra or what Jonathan Gannon was known for was that this team is playing tough, this team is playing strong, and this locker room isn't imploding amongst each other, right? And that's one thing that we've given credit to Jonathan Gannon, for multiple years of being the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. But now in year three, that shtick just does not work anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we are here in a very, very interesting situation where we got to decide, right? Well, we don't got to decide because at the end of the day, it's not our decision as Arizona Cardinal fans, but we got to kind of talk about the elephant in the room. Is Jonathan Gannon the guy moving forward in year four? Because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there's a portion of fans that I've already seen, because I ended up taking it to the poll question here on my YouTube channel, which obviously is where I have the biggest following here. I ended up asking you guys, do you guys feel like Jonathan Gannon should get a year four? I ended up asking you guys, do you think Jonathan Gannon should get a year four? And I ended up asking that yesterday. So far, we have 726 votes right now, and it's only 14 hours into this, but 75% saying that Jonathan Gannon does not deserve a year four, and 25% says that yes, he does deserve a year four. So very, very, I guess 75% saying no, he doesn't. 25% says yes. But what I'm hearing all through social media, it doesn't seem like the fan base right now is bought into the idea that they are willing to go through another year of Jonathan Gannon. Now, yes, there's a lot of things stacked up against him that I believe a lot of people are feeling bad about, and I get it, right? At the end of the day, he definitely seems like a well-rounded, good person. He seems like a really good leader. Whenever you hear D-Rob or Jacoby Brissett talking about him, they say nothing but glowing remarks. Nothing but glowing remarks. This is Jacoby Brissett ended up talking about JG at the end of this game versus Tampa Bay. And regardless, if they're 3-9, and it's probably regardless if even if they end up with just 3 wins in the season, they're probably going to continue the same message. And this is what JG ended up having to say. I'm sorry, this is what JB ended up having to say about JG.
Noise, but I think we got the right man in charge in JG and the guys in the locker room that are sticking together. Our leaders are getting our guys back into the facility with the right mindset, and I think that's all that really matters. You can't really pay attention to who watches the game or not.
So that question was asked about the fan base, right? That there's a lot of fans that are already tuned off to the Arizona Cardinals right now and the product that they're actually putting on the field. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, uh, I don't mind the response. I really don't, because at the end of the day, they, as a brotherhood, they got to kind of dig deep down and obviously find a way to win. And the outside noise is one of those things which I agree with, right? But like that's with the highs and the lows, right? Like if they are riding a high and the Cardinals are doing a lot better than whatever the hell is happening right now, which they're not. But what I'm saying is, if that was, I would expect the same message, right? That they can't really worry about the outside noise. Everything needs to stay internally. So it goes both ways. So hearing JB saying that, it doesn't really matter what happens on the outside, I don't really mind it at the end of the day, but the fans are pissed. There's a lot of people that have reached out to me, and I'm assuming other national media outlets or just Arizona media outlets out there that are saying that they're canceling their season tickets. A lot of people are getting to that point where they're canceling their season tickets because they don't feel like Michael Bidwell truly wants to win. Like the idea that being bought into bringing in a coaching staff that's going to change anything is going to change. Like they don't even think that even if we move off of JG, Monty or even Michael Bidwell is going to have the resolution to get us to that level. Right now, the Arizona Cardinal fans are in a uproar, and it's unfortunate. It really is, especially when you're in year three of an organization or year three of a spot where we needed to get some sort of reward as Cardinal fans. We're not. We're getting the total opposite. We're getting the absolute stick punched, slapped in the face as the Arizona Cardinals fan base. And it's very unfortunate. It really is because Cardinal fans, we've been very patient, very, very patient. Very patient. And here's the thing. I've said this once and I'll say it again. And this is the unfortunate truth nature of the beast. We are not a big enough fan base to make a big enough noise. Us internally, by ourselves, right? Everybody in this chat, including myself. I'm frustrated. I am. I'm frustrated with this organization that has not been able to put a winning, consistent product on the field year in and year out. We were sold that they're going to play physical. We were sold that they're going to play violent. We were sold that we're going to win games. And don't get it twisted. We're going to win games with Jonathan Gannon. We're frustrated because what we've seen for year in and year out, our frustration just doesn't lie with this year. Although expectations was that we were supposed to be a playoff team, our frustrations lie deeper, right? The fact that we cannot ever seem to get it right after Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians was what we probably should have stuck with. Unfortunately, he didn't want to get rid of his coordinator. He felt like his hand was forced. He forced retirement. He ended up leaving, going to broadcasting for a year. Didn't work out. Went back into coaching and won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, right? So this is the unfortunate nature of the circumstances. The Cardinals haven't won a playoff game since 2015. Like, that is where the frustration is coming from Cardinal fans. Where's our success? Where is our payoff, right? When you're seeing this year every single team in the NFC West, every single team in the NFC West, with the exception of us, at the top at 8 and 9 wins right now. Or actually, they're probably all at 9 wins right now. And the Cardinals right now are sitting at the total opposite, 3 wins, 9 losses. We are the ones that are bringing this division down. We are the ones because the Cardinals can never seem to get it right. And now we're hearing people out there saying Jonathan Gannon deserves a year 4. That is absolutely crazy and blasphemy in my mind. This is absolutely nuts to even hear that he's even considered to get a year 4. It's not like we're talking about a head coach that does well in the division. No, he's 3-13 in the division. He's 15-31 and counting. He could potentially finish off this season at 10, 11, 12, 13 losses. But then we want to grant the idea that he deserves another chance because he deserves his guy. No, we're kicking the can far out into 2026 and we're going to get the exact same result because guess what? One or two things are going to happen. We're going to draft a rookie quarterback when he's a defensive-minded head coach. Who is he going to be bringing in to develop that new rookie quarterback, right? Do we trust him? I as sure as hell don't trust Jonathan Gannon to develop a rookie quarterback. And if he comes back and I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I'm going to stick to my guns here. I do not believe he deserves a year 4. He could have moved off of Kyler sooner. He could have got a development plan in place, and he didn't. This organization does this every single year where they do not find a way to find a succession plans to what's going on. They do not solve their problems until the problems right there at the doorstep. And they've been doing that for years. And that's even with Jonathan Gannon. That's with Cliff. That's with Keim. That's with Monty. They don't seem to figure out these issues when it's an issue and they should be figuring out a plan, a succession plan, and they don't do it. Now, one thing that's going well for Jonathan Gannon is that this locker room isn't imploding, right? This locker room that you got Jacoby Brissett as well as Darius Robinson, which we're going to be talking about a little later on and how he feels about himself. But this is what Darius Robinson ended up having to say about Jonathan Gannon after this loss to Tampa Bay.
Darius, how much do you guys still believe in Gannon to get this?
Oh yeah, JG, awesome. He don't get enough credit for how well he coaches and teaches the game. Like, I've learned so much about just football, the basics and fundamentals at such a high level, and it's just disappointing that we're not able to help him and win these games. But he's doing a phenomenal job, a great leader. He's perfect. It's us,
So there's Darius Robinson right there, right? Second year. And like I said, we're going to talk about exactly what he said about himself a little later on because there's a really good clip that I want to kind of talk about a little later on what he had to say. And I really liked what he had to say. But in this specific clip, he is praising Jonathan Gannon, that he's awesome, right? He doesn't get enough credit, they said. He doesn't get enough credit for what he does. And I think one thing at the end of the day, if he's that good and he's that good of a people person, that's awesome. And I've never ever once said Jonathan Gannon is a terrible person. No, he can very well be a wonderful human being and a great leader. But guess what? The production isn't meeting what he's selling. And that's the most important things is winning. Can you win in the NFL? That is what's most important. Personality is great. You can have a head coach that can be that guy for you, and that's completely fine. But he's not winning in an NFL level. What's going to change next year? Are we going to wrap this season up and call it injuries? Well, this season's gone, you know, upside down before injuries ended up happening. Now, it got worse and worse since the Cardinals have had so many people on IR. And yes, injuries has taken into effect as to why we are here. But at the end of the day, Monty Ossenfort put this exact same product out. You put the exact same offense out there and upgraded the defense. And I'm doing this because at one point, the defense was getting shredded, right? And the NFC West, we're not upgraded. We're not upgraded to the NFC West. For other teams, I guess you can say we are upgraded to the other teams out there that are not in the NFC West. But we are getting diced up like Swiss cheese in the NFC West, which are opponents that we see at least 6 times a year. We're not good enough to compete in this division. And Monty Ossenfort put this product out for us. And he did nothing on the offensive side of the ball. He said, I'm going to get a guard for you guys, and he's going to ride most of the time in his rookie year on the IR, and that's Hayden Connor. And he was inactive this last year as well, or this last game as well. So, like, it's this frustration coming from me, and this is going beyond this year. Do I think injuries derail this season? I think it has effect into it as well. But at the end of the day, coaching is a big deal as well. There's no way that you're losing this many close games if you can't blame coaching in some sort of sense. What in the living hell was that last drive? What was that last drive? That last drive, when you needed to have it, Jacoby Brissett was dinking and dunking, throwing little curl routes, acting like we had every single timeout available in our pocket. We didn't. We had no timeouts available in our pocket. We had one timeout, and we were dinking and dunking because guess what? Those were the plays that were called by Drew Petzing. Oh, we're going to dink and dunk in there. We have a minute and change, and we have one timeout. Why the hell are we dinking and dunking? Now, yes, JB was harassed a lot of this game. I think I ended up hearing something along the lines that he was like pressured like 40 plus percent of his dropbacks, which is absolutely crazy and absurd. And to still see him put the numbers that he's putting up is actually pretty darn amazing. I will give credit to where credit is due. JB is doing pretty good for what it's worth. He's getting harassed every drop back. Almost feels like every drop back or every other drop back. Jacoby Brissett is getting harassed. So what he's doing is pretty darn good, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough to win games at the end of the day. And I'm not saying, oh, this is all JB's fault. He's a backup quarterback. We knew what we were getting into when he was going to most likely ride out the season. Now, we'll talk about Kyler a little later on. I'm already seeing some people here in the chat saying, oh, Kyler's coming back. Okay, well, if that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. As of right now, you're 3-9. What's the point of even bringing him back? What's the point? Like, let's be real. What is the point? For him to get absolutely annihilated back there with this offensive line that can't block anybody, that is like a turnstile? This offensive line is horrendous. This run game isn't great. Bam Knight, I gave him credit on my live play-by-play. I said, damn, that's a really good play by Bam Knight. Next play, fumble. I'm like, holy crap. You can't say one nice thing until this whole organization implodes. That's what it feels like sometimes. But going back to what we were saying, right? This whole Jonathan Gannon, these players are bought in. These players are bought into the culture that JG has established. One thing I will say is that is great. They're not imploding within. They have brought in guys that they wanted to bring in. They brought in guys that will not be throwing people under the bus. They brought in guys that will not ruin a culture if things don't go their way. Well, it's 3-9. Frustration is being felt all throughout the fan base right now. Now, there's a portion of the fan base, like I said, that's a little more patient than I am, and that's fine. You guys can live in your own, hunky-dory world. That's completely fine. I'm not like that. It's either yes, you are, or no, you're not. Right now, no, you're not. You're not that guy that's going to be for us in 2026. Now, it's not my decision, right? It's going to be Michael Bidwell, Monty Ossenfort. If he retains his job, most likely he will, but it's not my decision. I don't want him to come back. Does he? Probably because of monetary reasons. That's the only reason I can see right now that if Jonathan Gannon comes back as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals in 2026 is due to monetary reasons. It's not because he is the guy and he's going to win as a Super Bowl. No, it's going to come down to pockets. It's going to come down to payroll. That's what it's going to come down to because Michael Bidwell is that guy. He is not a great owner. Unfortunately, he's not the richest, and we're the ones that have to pay for his mistakes. We're the ones that have to pay for the mistakes that he made. Extending Kime, extending Cliff, those are the mistakes that he made, and we have to pay for it. And it's unfortunate. It really is. But let's take a look at this graphic, ladies and gentlemen, because honestly, patience is wearing thin. Patience is absolutely wearing thin. This is going to be a graphic that I ended up seeing here. Well, I made this graphic, but these are the records for head coaches for the Arizona Cardinals that have gotten at least 3 years in the most recent years. This is the graphic that I ended up making. Bruce Arians in year 3 was 13-3 playoffs. Cliff Kingsbury, for as much flack as he's gotten, 11-6 playoffs in year 3. Jonathan Gannon, currently right now while we're doing this live stream / podcast, is 3-9 in his year 3. Now, yes, you can go out here and say injuries. You can come out here and say this, and that. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's not. He's not good enough to be a head coach. There's no answers. There's no adjustments. There's no real solution to this problem. What they're going to happen is they're going to reevaluate everything at the end of the year once we're done with these 5 weeks. They're going to get done with these 5 weeks, and they're going to say to themselves, okay, well, what's the problem? Okay, well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Those are going to fix the issues. It ain't going to fix the issues. It ain't. It is not going to fix the issues. Jonathan Gannon right now has absolutely regressed from what he was in year 1. One thing I will say is that he does have bought in from this locker room, which is good. They're not imploding. That's good. They're still fighting hard, right? Except for the people within the NFC West. They absolutely annihilate us. But every other team that we're playing outside the NFC West, we're still fighting hard, which is good, right? It's really cool to see. But at the end of the day, it's not good enough. This is a production-based business, and he's 3-9, and he's regressed. He's regressed mightily. While Cliff is 11-6, Bruce is 13-3, Gannon is 3-9. And counting. Because guess what? We can very well be in a real world where we only win 3 freaking wins. That's a realistic possibility here. That we only have 3 wins at the end of this year. 3-9. And then we got people out here saying, oh, he deserves another job. He deserves another year. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely insane to me that we're hearing people saying that they deserve it. He deserves another year. It's not like we're talking about a head coach that's 5-6 wins, right? That's making do with what he can with the guys that he has. Let's not also forget that when James Conner went down and Trey Benson went down, they refused to do anything. They refused to do anything. They let Bam Knight roll through, that they let Amari DiMercato roll through. They kept him on the roster after the boneheaded, I'm going to flip the ball, right? All those mistakes that were done is the result of here. We couldn't recover from that Tennessee Titans loss. We couldn't. And the proof's in the pudding. We couldn't recover from that Tennessee Titans loss. Kyler Murray getting hit with the freaking ball right in his forehead, right? Fumble. We couldn't recover from that. And although he might be a player's coach, and he seems like a good player's coach, players seem to absolutely love Jonathan Gannon, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. And for the people out there that are trying to sell you this narrative that he deserves another year because he deserves his guy, he deserves to draft his own dude, right? It's absolutely outlandish, and you're just kicking the can. That's all you're doing. You're kicking the can for another year. That's what you're doing. You're kicking the can down for another year. Gannon, although maybe if you want to be nice, probably deserves another year, but you should have set a plan, man. You should have set a plan. I said this last year. You're tying your career to Kyler. And that's not a good place you want to find yourself in. You didn't draft him. You're tying your career to Kyler. And guess what? Things went awry in year 3. This is year 3, and you're 3-9. Injuries, yes, took an effect. I get it. But you're 3-9. You're going to probably finish off this year with maybe 4 wins. Maybe. And that's me being generous. Honestly, right now, and it sucks for me to say, because I truly do believe this organization is finding solace or finding some sort of moral victory because they are winning, or sorry, they are losing by such a small margin. They're getting solace because, and they're taking these moral victories from these small wins, or let me run it back. They're taking moral victories and they think everything's okay because they're losing and they're not getting beat down all the time. One thing I will say right now is, and it sucks for me to say, Rams beat the living hell out of this team. I'm sorry, but if that's what it takes to get this man out, then that's what it takes to get this man out. Rams beat the living hell out of the Cardinals. Please. Because if we're coming out here to try to take some victory laps because we're only losing by 3 points, 4 points every week, with the exception of the NFC West, that's so damn laughable that won't happen in any other market. That won't happen. Any other market, nobody will let that fly but here. Nobody would let that fly but here. But guess what? We lost by 3 or 4 points again. Man, we just can't seem to get it right. Come on. This is year 3. We're not talking about a head coach that's in year 1 and we can take these little moral victories under our belt and feel good about the future. Ain't nobody feeling good about the future. That's why there's a lot of season ticket holders for the Cardinals canceling because they're not bought into this BS. They're not bought into this BS. And I'm so damn convinced. In the last 2 years, I've been talking about this, and I mentioned it here and there, and I see it in the chat as well. Sean Payton probably didn't want to come here for multiple reasons, but one of them, probably because we couldn't afford him or we couldn't give him the Wally World money, which obviously the Broncos were able to do. And 2, I don't think he wanted to keep Kyler. I think he wanted to get rid of Kyler, and I don't think Michael Bidwell would allow it. Because on top of that, you're paying a head coach that much amount of money, and you're going to eat that much of the salary of a mistake that you made. And I'm not going to lie, I was on for it. I was cool with it at the beginning, right? I was wrong. We probably shouldn't have done that. And it's unfortunate because the next quarterback is going to probably get that same treatment where we're going to feel like, oh, maybe we should be a little hesitant when you pay a quarterback. But that's the truth of the nature. That's the truth of the beast. You are going to have to be a little hesitant when it comes down to paying your QBs of the future. But Sean Payton didn't want to come here. He wanted to get rid of Kyler. I'm convinced. There's no source. There's no reporting coming out here. But I'm convinced. He did not want Kyler, just like he didn't want Russell. He released him. The Cardinals wouldn't allow that happening to do it here. He moved off to a different opportunity, a better opportunity. And that's just what it is. Bidwell is not doing things based off of I want to win. He's doing things based off of pockets, right? Doing things based off of what I can do to win money. And what I find absolutely laughable is that he actually came out a couple years ago and he was saying, don't sell your tickets, season ticket holders. We want the Red Sea coming out here and cheering on the Arizona Cardinals. Don't sell your tickets. Don't do that. Come on, guys. Don't sell your tickets. We want to make sure that the season tickets are going to Cardinal fans. You know what you could do? Instead of making casitas and all these exclusive money rich people, you want to actually build a fan base and a fandom. Win. That simple as that. It ain't rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. Win. 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 That's what you need to do. You want to build up casitas for 8 Cardinal fans that aren't real Cardinal fans, but they'll buy the gear for the weekend because they want to have some sort of thing to do on the weekend, or their flight stops here and they want to have an exclusive. I want to take my guy or my business partners out to have a event to go to. This fan base is so damn small and not very loud or not very, I guess, expectations is we will allow to lay down because we don't feel like anything's going to change anyways. Because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, Cardinal fans right now They're feeling it. They're feeling it. A lot of people said it. You see it all through social media. They're canceling. They're canceling their season tickets. They're not buying into this BS that we're seeing here. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't buy into this BS. Gannon, if he comes back next year, it's not based off of he's a good head coach. He's based off of monetary reasons. That's what it is. And if that's what your owner is going to put out, damn, cancel season ticket holders or don't buy any more merch. That's it. Boycotting season, ladies and gentlemen. You're not accommodating to the guys, the Cardinal fans that actually want to win. You're accommodating to rich people that don't care, that will move on to the next team because they came from Chicago. They came from Wisconsin, and they're just taking advantage of this weather that we have here in summer. That's all you're accommodating to. You're not building an actual fan base. And I don't get why they don't get that. I don't get why they don't get that. Feels like business 101. If you're in a business to win and production-based league, win. And instead, you're doing the complete opposite. You're losing. 4 straight losing seasons. And yes, I count last year as a losing season. 8-9, that's not a winning season. You're under 500. 4 straight losing seasons. Every single time I put a piece of content, Instagram, YouTube, X, and Twitter, there's at least 3 or 4 comments. I'm moving on. I'm not supporting this team anymore. I'm done. I've given 20 plus years to this team and they can't get it right. I'm done. I'm moving on. I'm not watching football anymore. I hear it every single time. And guess what? This coaching staff doesn't care, or this ownership doesn't give a damn too. Because they believe they're right. They believe that what they're doing is right. Here's the thing. I'm seeing my guy Naheem down there saying, like Buda Baker said, I'm tired of losing. I don't think Buda Baker's at his point of his career anymore, that he might have just gone numb, right? He might have just gone numb to the idea that this is who it is. I'm going to get paid. And that's what happens sometimes. When you have a dog, and I'm not saying he doesn't have that dog mentality still, but sometimes that's just what happens. Human nature sets in, mindset changes, and you start thinking about, what am I going to do after football? Or, hey, it is what it is. Nothing we can do to change anything, right? Because Buda Baker, whenever he talks, doesn't really kind of have that same, or at least I don't see it. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm not in the locker room, obviously. Maybe he does, but I don't think he's got that anymore. I don't think he's got it is what it is at this point, right? And I think that's what Cardinal fans are feeling right now. It is what it is. And that's very, very unfortunate. To me, do I believe they deserve another chance? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no, Jonathan Gannon does not deserve another chance. But will he get another chance? Well, Michael Bidwell is at the top. There's a possibility. Let me give some real quick love over to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, the guys that are keeping the lights on, and then we'll keep the conversation going. Let me give some love on over to Sleeper, proud sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan throughout the entirety of the 2025 season. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick on stats for stars like touchdowns, passing yards, and receiving yards, and fantasy points and more for up to 100 times the payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you can win big. Use promo code AZSF, and you get up to a $100 deposit match on your first initial deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. And on top of that, you will also be getting $20, just like that. Sign up, use my promo code AZSF, and you'll get a free $20, no deposit needed. Make sure you check out Sleeper, proud sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan throughout the entirety of the 2025 season. All right, let's keep the conversation going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and listen into what Jonathan Gannon ended up having to say after this loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday.
Hats off to Tampa Bay. They made a couple more plays than us. Game came down to the wire there, a lot of back and forth. We lose the takeaway battle 2-0. We know it's going to be tough sledding. They converted some, we didn't. Love the fight by the group. I just told him in the locker room, though, it comes down to a couple plays, all three phases, and you're going against a good football team, and you got to make those plays. So it starts with us coaches, making sure that we're on the details, and start converting more of those plays so we can win a game.
So, I mean, nothing he said here is anything different than we've been hearing, right? Comes down to a few plays, which it does. I mean, it does. And what he's saying isn't wrong, right? I don't want to come out here and say, oh, he doesn't know football. He does, obviously. I mean, he's gotten to this position because he knows football more than the average guy, right? So he deserves this position in terms of at least given the opportunity to become a defensive coordinator, hell, maybe even a head coach. There might be some sort of crazy organization to give a guy like that a head coaching position, and we give it, right? So I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He does. But it's gotten to the point where we're just hearing the same things over and over again. Like it's Groundhog's Day, right? Broken record over and over again. Hats off, credit. They deserve credit. This, and that. And that's what we're going to be getting. Let's be real. We're going to ride out the season with 5 probably straight losses, but maybe close, with the exception of maybe the Rams, because thankfully, there's only 2 more games in the NFC West. Thankfully, there's only 2 games left in the NFC West right now. 2 Rams games. And like I said earlier, I hate that I'm going to say this, but at this point, Rams beat the living crap out of this team. Please. Because if we're going to take solace of we're only losing by slim margins, oh, this is going to be okay. This is injuries. That's why we're here. Rams beat the living crap out of us. Please. Because regardless of what it is, it's a loss. Ain't nobody going to remember 2025, oh, the shoulda, coulda, woulda year, right? It's too late for that. It's year 3 of a regime that can't seem to get it right. So, that's Jonathan Gannon talking about that. Now, one thing I did want to mention as well is I did say that Darius Robinson took to the media as well. And one thing I really want to talk about is Darius Robinson, because I know there's a lot of frustration amongst Cardinal fans about Darius Robinson, about him not meeting expectations of a first-round pick, right? This is what Darius Robinson had to say about, obviously, what's going on right now with the Cardinals.
It's just the energy and then the want to. You know, obviously we're losing, so I think everybody wants to do everything to help the team win, but we just don't have an answer right now. So just got to keep grinding and get back to the basics.
Is it frustrating that there are no answers to pinpoint right now?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we only won 3 games since September, so I mean that's terrible. So I mean, it starts with myself. I'm not who I thought I was, and that's okay because I'm going to show up on Monday. I'm going to grind and just keep going and find a way to help this team win. And so just focus on me being the best version of myself and help. So just keep grinding.
What do you mean you're not who you thought you were?
Shoot, I'm not. Like, we won 3 games. I feel like I haven't done enough to help our team win games. So I got to look at myself, evaluate my game, what can I do to get better, and just do that because talking about it and doing all that is not going to help. So just excited to get back to work Monday, figure out what's going on, and just keep grinding because that's all you can do.
Because that's all you can do, right? And he's right. He's right to a sense. He ain't wrong. That is all you can do. And what he said is, I'm not who I thought I was, right? But that's okay. As a person saying that, right, I could kind of understand where he's coming from. He's not coming from a point where he's trying to rub it in, but I think he's reached a humble moment in his career going into the NFL, thinking that he was going to be that next guy. Playing in college and playing in the NFL are 2 different beasts, 2 different worlds, ladies and gentlemen. 2 different beasts and 2 different worlds. He's humbled. He's humbled by experience. He's trying to get better. And that's, I guess, fine, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit for a player to kind of get into their own, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, and unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of that. Although flashes with Will Johnson, flashes of Walter Nolan, already the injury bug has hit both of those guys, right? So now, all of the draft picks have been good for Monty. It's just now we're worried about can they stay on the field. We don't have the depth to say to ourselves, okay, well, if our first round pick isn't playing, we got this guy coming up here who's going to step into the role and be very, very good. No, not this organization, man. They're very, very, we want to make sure that we develop, and they're not doing that great of a job of developing, let's be real, but that's what they do. They want to take the inexpensive route, and that's fine. If you hit your picks, that's fine. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of where we are at. Darius Robinson, no, you are not who we thought you were, right? Perfect example of a guy that has not really started off really good in their rookie year, Trey McBride, right? Trey McBride's a perfect example of a guy that I believe a lot of people that were confused when we drafted him. We were like, what? A second round tight end? Because think about it. We never had a tight end before Trey McBride ever that has gone to the level that he's gotten to. What we're seeing from Trey McBride is history. It's straight up history. Enjoy it now. I don't know if we're ever going to get it. But please also keep in mind that every single year that they're not doing good, you're wasting prime years of a guy like Trey McBride. You're wasting prime years of guys like James Conner. Unfortunately, another year older, got hurt. Done for the season. And guess what? There's no succession plan. With what we thought we had with Trey Benson, guess what? He can't stay healthy. So now we're back at ground zero, another third round pick that we don't have an answer to. And no, I don't dislike the picks, but at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, these guys need to be productive for the Cardinals. And Darius Robinson is acknowledging that he's not the guy that he thought he was. I mean, we all kind of came to that conclusion, but I'm glad he's got that humbling experience under his belt. But like I said before, Jacoby Brissett and Jacoby Brissett and Darius Robinson speak very highly of JG. Again, this is Jacoby Brissett on Jonathan Gannon at the end of this loss.
Noise, but I think we got the right man in charge in JG and the guys in the locker room that are sticking together. Our leaders are getting our guys back into the facility with the right mindset, and I think that's all that really matters. You can't really pay attention to who watches the game or not.
So there's that. Darius Robinson also saying JG's awesome. He doesn't get enough credit for the way he teaches football. And you can be a really good leader. You could be a real good person. And at least with what we're hearing, that seems to be the message out there. That this organization, that this coaching staff has a really good leader, has a really good guy that's going to be able to stay everything or keep everything in house. And that's good, I guess. But with what he's doing isn't good enough. With what he's doing is not good enough. And I don't think people 100% understand what I mean. Again, I'm going to flash this graphic again. Because year 3 is when we're supposed to be getting the payoff as Cardinal fans. Year 3 is when we're supposed to be getting the payoff as Cardinal fans. And guess what? We haven't. This is year 3 from head coaches that made it here, that were blessed to get 3 years as a head coach for the Cardinals. I'm not going to say blessed because it's a good thing to be a head coach of the Cardinals. I just mean that we're given the opportunity for 3 years. Gannon at 3-9 potentially could be 3-14. Let's be real here. Cliff at 11-6. Bruce at 13-3. Vaughn in the chat says Trey will get traded next year. Bite your tongue. Bite your tongue, man. But I mean, that's not fair. I mean, it's not outlandish to say that maybe he might want to win somewhere else. Yeah, that's not outlandish to say that maybe he just might want to win somewhere else, right? Maybe it gets down to the point. Maybe it gets down to the point where he's just like, nah, it ain't working here. I want to win. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? We all want to win. We all want to win. This fan base right now deserves a win. And straight 4 years, we have not gotten that, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's insane. Let's go with ones. One's on the chat saying, I'm tired of fellow fans complaining. Let's look at our history. We spent years chasing a ring after 2008 run, made terrible signings, and failed properly rebuilds. Signing fits to that. Well, keep in mind, ones, right? Keep in mind, that is one, right? Oh, one are scribbles, or one are scribbles. So keep in mind, I understand that you're frustrated, that you hate fans complaining, but you got to keep in mind, people are pissed. People are pissed with the lack of success of this organization. So although maybe you like to keep the everything's good, everything's fine, just trust the process mentality, that's fine. But you also got to keep in mind there's fans that fan differently. There's fans that feel that we need to get some sort of payoff when you're investing this much time in watching this team. And I'm a part of those fans. So do I not like that? No, I'm a complete opposite. Keep complaining. Keep telling this ownership and this regime and this everything out there that you can. Scream on top of a soapbox that you're not happy with what's happening, right? Because if you sit back and you're complacent with what's happening, they're going to keep doing it. Michael Bidwell is the boss that's at the top that absolutely does not know what you are doing on your day-to-day life. That's what Michael Bidwell is. But as long as money is coming in, he's good. He's quiet. He's fine. He will only get on you when his money and his pockets are starting to get felt, that he's losing money and things need to change. That's when it usually happens. And guess what? If you have a lot of people with the mindset that you're saying, I hate fans or fellow fans that are complaining, well, guess what? Those fellow fans that are complaining are expressing their dismay on a product that hasn't been good for 38 years. How can you be mad at people that are expressing their opinion on a product that hasn't been good for 38 years since they've been here to Arizona? I don't get that. This fan base deserves to be at the top of the division like the Rams, like the Seahawks, like the 49ers. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, that the Seattle Seahawks have a year 2 head coach in Mike Macdonald. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. They have a year 2 head coach in Mike Macdonald, and guess what? He's most likely trajectorying or projecting to get into the playoffs again in year 2. And we're over here talking about, I don't want people to be negative against this billionaire organization. Well, win. Win. That's it. Win. And I'm not talking about win this year. I'm talking about in general, right? Win in general. Right now, we're tanking, right? We're tanking. It's a clear tank season. I'm not saying win because I don't want to give any more credit or I don't want to give any more. Oh, you won 4 games, Gannon, with the injury prone roster. No, hell, lose every single game. I can care 2 S's. But why we're here, why we're in this state right now, is what's frustrating. That we're 3-9. That's frustrating. Moving forward, I don't care if we're 3-14. I don't give 2 S's about that. But why we got here at this 3-9 state is what's frustrating. But let it bleed. We're bleeding. Let it fully bleed out. We're done. It's cooked. It's tank mode at this point. But that doesn't mean that we're not frustrated. That doesn't mean that we're not frustrated as Cardinal fans, because you should be. You should be frustrated as a Cardinal fan. And if you're not, and if you don't like complainers, then I'm sorry, this isn't the channel for you. This isn't. You probably will find a positive channel out there that will say nothing but glowing remarks. And in my opinion, will lie to you and tell you that this is the way to go. Bring Jonathan Gannon back for one more year, guys. Just do it. He deserves his guy. BS. BS. He does not deserve to get his guy. He should have done a plan earlier. He's got 3 years. And in 3 years, we had no playoff berths. 3 years. How can a podcaster, a guy that talks about this team, knows that they probably should have had a succession plan from Kyler 2 years ago? How? How can a guy that talked about the Arizona Cardinals, a podcaster, know that they should have had a succession plan from Kyler 2 years ago? How? But no, we don't want to be negative, right? No, we don't want to agree. Well, we don't want to be negative. Come on. Panthers year 2 head coach. Yeah. Canales. Dave Canales right now is in his year 2. We should have been at least what the Panthers are. At least what the Panthers are. I'm not even asking for freaking Rams. I'm not even asking for freaking 9 wins. I'm asking for 6, 7 wins for the love of God. How is that so hard to ask for? But yes, Dave Canales is 5-12 in year 1, 7-6 in his year 2. And yes, Jonathan Gannon was that coach as well. Okay, I'll give you that. We had a 6-4 start. Things went awry. Things completely hit the fan. I get that. But guess what? Year 3, and you still haven't been able to do it. It's not enough. It's not enough. Now, it doesn't help that we have the NFC West. That doesn't help, but that should only motivate this organization to be better. But instead, they're okay with selling tickets to the 49er fans. They're okay to sell tickets to the Cowboy fans, to the Steelers fans, the Green Bay Packers fans that come over. They're okay with it because guess what? They have their casitas. They have their casitas. That's why. Vaughn in the chats is paid for and brought to you by Bidwell. Not this channel. If you're talking about another channel, maybe. Also keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that people that have connections to the Cardinals, they probably can't really say what they want to say. Because guess what? If you do, you lose that accessibility to what your bread and butter is. So if you go out there and bite the hand that feeds you, you could potentially lose what makes you there. Let's not forget that, ladies and gentlemen. This channel here isn't brought to you and paid for. Maybe the other channels out there, or maybe another outlet out there, but this channel sure as hell isn't. There's a portion of people that will tell you whatever is happening, that will cover the team the way that it is, and that's completely fine. If that's what you want, just news and nothing else, no opinions, then I'm pretty sure you'll find a team, you'll find something like that out there. This ain't that one, right? This is going to be based off of opinion and actually hearing the fans. That's what this channel is founded on. Don't forget Sunshine. I didn't end up getting myself a tortilla jersey, but I did get the tortilla helmet, though. The tortilla helmet was cool. I did not end up getting myself a tortilla jersey, though. And that's what we got to do, man. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, and I know 2-3 years ago I said I don't want to tank. I don't want to create that losing culture. I hate it. Cardinals shouldn't do it. We shouldn't be anywhere involved with that. But let's be real. This coaching staff isn't the guys. What you created was cool. Appreciate it. But there's a door. If Jonathan Gannon gets saved, and Jonathan Gannon, if he goes in his year 4, it's not based off him being a good head coach. It's based off of him for monetary reasons. And any head coach, if he was a head coach in any organization that saw what we're seeing, it wouldn't fly like we're allowing it to fly here. Also, don't forget that as well. This fan base is pissed. This fan base is being very vocal. And they should be. And they should be. Look at the bright side. We could be the Vikings and have 3 bad quarterbacks. Yeah, true. Yeah, we have a blessing of riches at quarterback right now. A blessing of riches. I mean, Jacoby Brissett actually is pretty darn solid. I'm going to be real with you. And I know I'm getting a lot of flack because people were like, oh, you wanted Jacoby Brissett to start. You wanted him to start. Oh, and he sucks. He's terrible. I mean, what he's showing up on the field isn't sucky production. That first half was terrible. I don't know what that first half was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I have no idea what that first half was. But with what Jacoby Brissett is being dealt, being pressured as many times as being pressured, every single drop back, it's actually pretty darn amazing that he's putting up 300 yards a game. Pretty darn amazing. But wins are more important. And I agree. Wins are more important. But Jacoby isn't a bad quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback. He's also not a guy you need to extend. Let's not get it twisted, right? You're not going to extend Jacoby Brissett. But he's capable. He's not terrible. That's good. Brosmer, terrible. JJ McCarthy, I've said it. I might have jumped the gun a little too much. I was like, oh man, that kid looks good in his first game. McCarthy is it's just not there, man. It's just not there with McCarthy. So yes, you're right. Vikings are in a worse situation. But right now, what the Cardinals need to do is everything in their power to get in the top 5. That's first step. First step number 1, get into the top 5. Try to secure yourself a Fernando Mendoza. Try to secure yourself a Ty Simpson. That is what you need to do moving forward. Now, if Dante Moore doesn't declare, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not the biggest fan of Dante Moore, but if they want to go that direction and maybe try to develop him, I don't think Jonathan Gannon is the guy to develop a Dante Moore, but I digress. Let's continue the conversation. I hope to hell that at least 3 quarterbacks come out. Because if it's only 2 quarterbacks coming out, we're going to be in a very, very sticky situation. Because right now, per tankathon, we are sitting at the 8th overall pick, which is better than the 10th and the 9th that we were in, right? I think with Vegas losing last night on primetime, we were at one point the 6th overall pick, which was pretty exciting. That was cool to see. We were at the 6th overall pick at one point. But now we dropped down to the 8th. So we got the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft right now. We're behind. No, we're in front of. We're behind. So the Jets is in front of us. The Washington's in front of us. Cleveland is in front of us. Vegas, Giants, New Orleans, as well as Tennessee. If we can somehow get Cleveland to beat up on the Tennessee Titans, that would be ideal for us. Because I don't think Tennessee is in for a quarterback. I think they're going to try to build around Cam Ward. New Orleans, they might be out on Shuck. Vegas, Geno ain't it. He's not the future, let's be real. Cleveland, Shador's starting again, but he got to win. He wasn't going to beat the 49ers. I said this already in the NFC West Roundtable. He wasn't going to beat them. Although everybody else in the NFC West Roundtable did say that Cleveland was going to win for some reason. Washington doesn't need a QB. Jets could very well use a QB. There's 4 teams? New Orleans, Vegas, Cleveland, and the Jets. 4 teams in front of us right now that can very well use a quarterback in this draft. And if there's 2 of them that come out, yikes. You don't want to find yourself in that spot. You do not want to find yourself in that spot. Cardinals will most likely lose to the Rams next week. Let's be real. The Cardinals aren't beating the Rams. They're not beating the Rams. Dude, I would love to get Spencer Rattler. If the Cardinals were to do something like that, I'm cool with it. But I'm also not. I'm not banking my buck on. I'm getting another late round pick and trying to make it work. If the Cardinals want to do it and have a fair competition, I'm cool with it. Throw a late round pick that way. That's completely fine. But I still want the Cardinals to either get themselves a Ty Simpson or maybe a Fernando Mendoza. I'm still in on that. The Cardinals need to do that. If they want to go after Spencer Rattler, use a late round pick, throw one their way over to New Orleans, I'm not putting all my eggs on basket that Spencer Rattler is going to develop, because that's the same thing that we were doing with the Kevin Kolb days and Derek Anderson and Max Hall, Skelton, those days. I'm not trying to get a 4th, 5th round, 6th round pick to make them our franchise. No, I'm not about that. We need to draft a QB. and develop them as our own. Feast Mode in the chat says, at least we're losing close games, which has hope. We have a few pieces away, and Vegas have it bad. I mean, in year 3, this doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean? And that's it. It's just opinions, right? Your opinions can vary, and you're right. When you're looking at the Vikings, they are in a worse situation than we are. That's true. I'll give you that. Right? I'll give you that. But in year 3, this doesn't do it for me. I can care 2 S's that we're losing by 3 points, 2 points most of the I don't care. For me, you can, that's fine. You can take solace. You can take a moral victory lap if you want to. To me, it's year 3. This type of stuff I will only accept in year 1. Hell, maybe even year 2. Year 3, nah, I don't care too much about this in terms of winning close. A loss is a loss regardless. Our problem is that we need to draft a quarterback, but the choices aren't good. Yeah. And then that's why it's going to be very, very important for the Cardinals to try to keep Kyler healthy and try to get him on a team like the Minnesota Vikings and get him on a team like the Jets. Create havoc, create a quarterback market, because Daniel Jones might be the hot commodity coming out, but maybe the Colts want him back. Maybe the Colts are going to try to retain him. So, which leaves Kyler as a potential next thing since sliced bread out there. Kyler might be a hot commodity out there. Maybe, maybe not. But if the Cardinals play this right, and like I said, I don't know if I trust Monty to play this right, but right now he's the general manager, so they're going to have to play this right. He might be the best quarterback you can trade for, or maybe even the free agent quarterback that you can get for. So you need to create a market for him from the Vikings, from the Jets, from Vegas, from New Orleans. Hell, throw Cleveland in there as well and get some sort of battle up. Hey, you're not going to be able to get yourself a quarterback, but we got Kyler Murray for you right here. So, going back to what I was saying, there's some people out there that don't believe that he will have a market. I'm talking about Kyler. Well, that's going to be your opinions are opinions, right? Opinions are opinions. But we truly don't know until we actually hit the offseason. When you got the Vikings probably losing their last few games and only have a 4-win season. Yeah, the fan base is going to want something. So maybe Kyler can be that guy over there. Because Brosmer so far doesn't look good. J.J. McCarthy doesn't look good. And they're in a heap of trouble. Cardinals right now are sitting at 3-9. We're not much better. But at least we have some sort of plan. Or at least in my crazy mind, they have a plan. But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. Let's read a couple more comments here. John in the chat says, I would rather Kyler go to the Vikings and suck there than go to the Jets and suck there so Kyler stands. I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, Kyler Murray stands. They can go where Kyler Murray goes. I can care 2 S's. Some of them will move with them. Some of them will stay. And it doesn't matter to me. It is what it is at this point. They accepted defeat. It's over. It feels like the Cardinals are moving on. But you never know. In 3 days, we can hear that Kyler Murray is moved off of the 21-day window or open up 21-day window, and things can change. You never know, man. You never know exactly what's going to happen in this NFL, especially with this coaching staff. You think they have it right. You think they know what they're doing, and then they don't. Drama in the chat says nobody wants Kyler. Well, let's see. If our worst fears, that might be our worst fear, that we can't get anything from Kyler. Yikes. RM in the chat says you can support Kyler, and he's Cardinal fans. He's one of the best QBs the franchise has ever had. And that's a fact. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, don't have a lot to choose out of. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely up there for sure. Would you say top 3 as Arizona Cardinals? Not Chicago, not St. Louis, Arizona. Is he one of the top 3? Yeah, I would say that. 100%. I wouldn't put him in front of Palmer or Warner. But, yeah, definitely top 3 for sure. Can we put Michael Bidwell as the QB? He would. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see a towel boy out there getting demolished. Swifty in the chat says, please, no drafting a QB. Fix the O-line. Draft the best available lineman and the secondary on the defense. I mean, the Cardinals right now, there is an obvious hole within their offensive line, right? Obvious. Keep in mind, you can also get a second-round draft lineman, right? Everybody was confused with the Isaiah Adams pick. Everybody but Monty Ossenfort. Let's not forget that. Everybody was confused with the Isaiah Adams pick except for Monty Ossenfort. So, let's call it like it is. You can still get a offensive lineman in the second round, in the third round, and some of them can work in the NFL. They can. And on top of that, you have free agency. So, to me, it's not you have to go after an offensive lineman in the first round because there's no guarantee that guy's going to work. There's no guarantee that guy's going to work. People feel like if you get a first rounder, then he's going to work. No. Can we remember what's his name? Jonathan Cooper? Can we remember that guy? Was that his name? Jonathan Cooper? The Cardinals ended up going in the first round. Was that his name? Jonathan Cooper, yeah. First round pick for the Cardinals. Wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. And I'm not saying because that didn't work out, we shouldn't, but I'm saying it's not for certain. People want to seem like, oh, this is what you got to do. This is the way. I'm okay. We got to upgrade the defensive line. That's true. That's true. Paris Johnson is right now the only guy that is the future for the Cardinals right now. Isaiah Adams is given the opportunity because he was a third round pick, and Hernandez went back on IR. And let's be real, Hernandez wasn't that great. Jonah Williams was not great. So right now we're just piecing together pieces. But you can get an offensive lineman in the second round. You can get an offensive lineman in the third round. Bring in new talent here. Bring in new guys that is going to be able to win a job. Fro Holt did it, and it worked out. But now do we need to look for a new center? Yeah, maybe soon. Yeah, maybe soon. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, when you have Monty Ossenfort not going any direction but defense last year, that it kind of does that to you. It's a very quick turnover league, and it's going to happen. So, it is what it is. Marvin Harrison Jr. looking like a reach. Right now, he's not met the expectations. I can agree with that. But I don't know. I really don't know what to say other than that. He's not meet expectations. That's true. Hasn't played 2 games this year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Make a trade for Shador. Same thing like I said for Radler. If you want to do it, that's fine. But also, I'm not putting my eggs in one basket. Like, this is going to be your answer. If you want to create a quarterback controversy, not controversy, a quarterback competition, that's fine. Use a late round pick if you want to, but that shouldn't be your end all be all. But this is where we're going to go ahead and close up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Is there some positivity about the Cardinals? Well, if you pick apart this roster, there's a little positivity here and there. A couple different things, right? But overall, unfortunately, it's the same things over and over again. We're living in Groundhog's Day, unfortunately. The Cardinals, who they are. The Cardinals are who we thought they were 3 weeks ago. They're not a team that they're going to be able to pull out of this, unfortunately. They are who they are, right? Just like the famous Dennis Green said, right?
Or who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let him off the hook.
Yep. Let him off the hook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be closing up shop right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate everybody for bringing just kind of your opinion and everybody kind of talking it up and chopping it up here in the comments below. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Smack the like button on your way out if you can do me that huge favor. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're closing up shop right here. Thank you. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cardinals.